Hey guys, welcome back. I am Chris with Marksman Shooting Sports in Westfield, Indiana. You are watching Marksman TV. Thanks for tuning in for another video. Today I'm going to be talking about the ammunition shortage situation that's going on right now. Anyway, if that all sounds interesting to you, please stick around. That's coming up now. Okay, so a lot of you guys have been asking me to cover this topic, and I know we as a gun store have been having a really hard time stocking ammunition. I know a lot of you guys as consumers, firearms enthusiasts, have been having a really hard time finding ammunition. You're looking in your local gun stores, online, you can't seem to find it anywhere, and what you do find is very, very high priced. Okay, that's a sign of the times. The demand is incredibly high, and the supply right now is at the current levels that it was at, before all this explosion in demand occurred. Now, to give us a little bit of insight on this, Vista Outdoors, which is actually it's a very large company that houses a lot of brands specifically in the outdoor world. Outdoor sports, camping, hunting, biking, ammunition. They do have the Federal and CCI Blazer brand ammunition, so they don't make up the entire scale of ammunition production in the United States, but they do make up a pretty good part of it. And I was able to listen to their first quarter earnings report conference call last week, and it has some really good insights on what they're thinking, what they're maneuvering to do, strategies they are taking to get more ammunition into the market, some warehousing logistics plans that they have, as well as how they're going to be moving their inventory into an e-commerce side of things moving forward. So there's a lot of interesting points. I'm going to talk through some of those. I'm also going to follow up this video with some of my own personal insights and some predictions that might be happening within about the next 6 months to a year. So first and foremost, on their call, there was a couple really important themes. The first one was, and this goes without saying, they saw a tremendous increase in demand in their first quarter. They said comparing to last year, 2019, they saw a 200% increase across all their business lines. Now, of course, they attribute things like the virus and the unrest with everything going on in the country to that. They said with their ear to the ground, they've heard lots of things about people buying ammunition because they are worried for their own personal defense and safety. Of course, we as a gun store, or me as a gun store owner, I can basically say, yeah, I can second that. That's what a lot of my customers have been telling me. Other things that they notice is like numbers on traveling. Of course, flights, vacationing is very low. A lot of people are staying home. They're trying to do things to stay active that involve being out in nature, away from other people. So that's leading to people getting into things like biking, camping, hunting, going out to the range and going shooting. So of course, for those reasons, they're seeing big increases across all their product lines as well. Now, on their conference call, they are predicting that this increase in elevated purchasing behavior and outdoor type things, including ammunition, is going to be a purchasing behavior that is going to stay, and it's not temporary based on the things that are going on. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. When you listen to these conference calls, you have to be cognizant of the fact that they are talking to current and potential investors. So they have to paint this picture that, hey, it's going to be clear skies from now until the end of time with our company. So whether that purchasing behavior stays as elevated as it has been is a little bit up for debate, but that is one thing that they did talk about on the call. Now, a couple other things that they did talk about were some statistics, especially in the ammunition purchasing. So according to the National Shooting Sports Foundation, 40% of all firearms and ammunition purchases have been taking place with new first-time buyers. Of course, that's something that we have seen before and have alluded to in the past. To me, that number, at least opposed to what I have seen and heard from people coming in here, that number is a little bit low. I had expected more about, in my store, 60 to 70% was first-time buyers, especially from March to about the end of June. Lately, it's been more repeat customers, people coming in for ammunition. Another thing that they saw is on the traffic on their Federal ammunition brand, ammunition website. They said since April, there has been an 80% increase in users on their site. So if we can use that as a general idea for increase in demand for ammunition in general, we're seeing a 200% increase in sales across all their brands, probably ammunition related, 80% increase in web traffic. So if you guys can just get this idea, and I hear this a lot from people, there's always sort of, I don't want to call them conspiracy theories, but people think, oh, the government is putting a halt on ammunition production, or the government's putting in a bunch of contracts. There's actually a little bit of truth to that, and I'll get to that in a minute. But really the main underlying reason for this is you had a production capacity set up for a demand that was actually pretty low and has been since the election of President Donald Trump. You then have this huge surgence of demand coming to the market with a manufacturing side of things that was not ready for the huge, I mean, we're talking 200% increase in demand, 80% increase in web traffic on their online federal ammunition site. That's just, it's like if my demand is set up for a certain intake of people and has been, my demand exploded, doubled, tripled, quadrupled, and then now you guys have seen my store, I have nothing in stock. That's just what happens even on a manufacturing side of things, so you got to give people time to ramp back up. One other interesting statistic that they had is from their online statistics, they saw a 58% increase over the same period last year in purchases from women, specifically about women. In our gun store, I would probably say 1 in 10 firearm purchases under normal circumstances were women, same with ammunition. Now it's almost 50-50 and has been. I mean, we're getting a lot of female buyers coming in, getting their firearms. Sam Colt said it best. It was, God created man, but Sam Colt, or he didn't say it, but somebody else did. God created man, but Sam Colt made them equal. It's kind of like that. You could take an 80-pound woman and a 200-pound bodybuilder, and the bodybuilder is attacking the woman, give her a gun, and the playing field is equalized. So I'm really happy to hear that a lot of women are getting into the shooting sports, and their data suggests that that is absolutely what is taking place. So one other interesting point of reference here is a lot of people had wondered if the shortage was related to to the ammunition manufacturers being closed during quarantines and things like that. Vista Outdoors did state that all of their brands of ammunition, that's Federal and CCI Speer, did have ammo production operations. They never ceased. So throughout all the pandemic and everything like that, their ammunition production did increase. They did say that there was a little bit of a scaling back in production due to the fact that they had to have fewer people in on work shifts. They had to have more space between people to adhere with social distancing requirements and things like that. But for the most part, they were fully in swing and operating. So again, we're not seeing really a decrease on the production side. It's really on the demand side. And of course, a lot of us can see that. Now, one interesting thing that they did spend a lot of time on the conference call talking about, and this is something that I alluded to in the consolidation of a fragmented industry video that I did, was they have been and are continuing to invest strongly in e-commerce. So like I mentioned, they saw an 80% increase in the traffic on their federal brand website. They're also increasing in e-commerce development and functionality on their CCI Speer brand sites as well. In fact, those websites are fully up and operational. The prices are at or above normal retail, so like what I sell them for, and they sell direct to consumer. So we are starting to see, traditionally their distribution of their ammunition has been to wholesalers. The wholesalers sell to retailers like me, retailers sell to you, the public. Now they are bypassing that entire supply chain dynamic and going direct to buyer because, of course, why not maximize your profits, your margins on each unit you're selling? And because they do have a limited supply right now, logistically, I guess they're able to handle the distribution of their own products. I knew that that was going to happen, and that was one of the big changes we are going to see coming out of this sort of market-changing phenomenon that's going on right now, is a lot of manufacturers of ammo and firearms are going to cut out portions of the supply chain and go direct either to direct retail like me or direct to consumer. Now, of course, because firearms do require background checks, they still can't cut out, at least to us, the point of sale with the customer, the people I'm actually the one doing the federal background check requirement. The wholesalers are not. And we're starting to see firearm manufacturers go direct to online retail like Palmetto and Buds and stuff like that. But this is a clear-cut example of Vista Outdoors, one of the biggest ammunition suppliers, creating and putting money and resources into a direct to consumer product distribution. So very interesting there. What is that going to do with pricing? Well, we saw after the last ammo panic, or the last ammo shortage in 2013, if we take 9mm for example, I remember before that happened, you could get a box of 9mm for like $7.99 at Walmart, federal brand, 50 round, 115 grain full metal jacket. Of course, we're just going back to 2013. I know if we go further in the past that the prices were down below that, but let's take $8 in 2013. Now the normal pricing is about $12, so up about 30. What is that? Up about 30% if I'm doing my math right. So that's way outpaced inflation. So prices went up on ammo because of that shortage. They came down a little bit, but they didn't come back all the way to what they were. We're probably going to see the same thing happen with ammunition in a year or two from now when everything returns back to the market. I don't think we're going to see $12 boxes of 9. I think $15 is probably going to be the new normal. Now, if ammunition manufacturers, accessory manufacturers, optics manufacturers, and of course Vista Outdoors has optics brands as well, if they start going direct to consumer, they can cut out middle people. Hopefully that'll help bring their pricing down, so we'll see what happens there. So another statistic that's pretty interesting is nationwide there was a 30% increase in licensing and tag trades. That's hunting licenses, fishing and game tags, and things like that. So due to an increase of a third of the market for hunting and outdoor use, fishing, all that sort of stuff, of course there's going to be an increase in outdoor products, fishing equipment, hunting equipment, camping equipment, and ammunition for people who are out hunting. They also do predict that they did see a huge resurgence in their game brand or their game loads. That's large caliber rifle and shotgun ammunition for the hunting season that is coming up, so in the fall. So they did see an increase there. They also say statistically range memberships and instruction usage has actually been up 40 to 50% over the first quarter last year. So of course a lot of people, new buyers, are out buying guns, they're out buying ammunition, people are out shooting it. They're saying their ammunition consumers are active current consumers, not hoarders, and there's a big difference there. You don't see a lot of people stockpiling the ammunition, they're seeing a current use of the ammunition. So the way they explained it is their ammunition sales typically follow or trail the firearm sale. And what that basically means is if you take the point of a sale of like a Glock 19, their ammunition sales to follow that Glock 19 are staggered. So that person might not buy a box of ammo that day, or maybe one box of ammo that day, and then they'll go to the range 2 weeks later, and then 2 weeks after that they'll buy another 2 boxes, and then a month after that they might go to the range. So it's a very staggered effect. What they're saying now is person will buy the gun, and if there's 10 boxes of ammo available, they'll buy it all. So, and then they'll use it all. They'll go to the range, they'll practice, they'll train, and then they have to buy more. So they're seeing more of an active purchasing, purchasing as needed and used, rather than purchasing just to set back. So they're saying the trends on purchasing are more in line with that. Whereas in 2013, it was more of a purchase to hoard or a purchase to collect, people stockpiling, that sort of thing. So there is a little bit of a difference in motivation there. That makes sense because, again, a big segment of the people purchasing firearms over the past 6 months have been first-time buyers. So, and the range statistics and everything back that up. So that was kind of some interesting data there as well. So one other interesting thing that you guys should know, and this is one thing that they did talk about on their conference call, is they did just secure a contract with the Department of Homeland Security. The contract was signed for Speer Gold Dot ammunition and would span over a period of 5 years for 120 million rounds of ammunition. So this is actually the largest governmental non-military purchase of ammunition. So like a government department or branch of the government that is not the military. This is the largest scale purchase of ammunition. So going back to that sort of conspiracy theory, is the government placing large ammunition orders to quell the supply in the civilian market? Well, a lot of people are going to look to that and say, yeah, that's pretty clear-cut evidence. In the middle of a ammunition shortage, the government's placing an order for 120 million rounds of 9mm defensive loads for the Department of Homeland Security, which is going to be for importation and customs and border control. So there you are. I guess we're building the wall one way or another, right? So one other interesting point is Lake City. They did renew a contract with Lake City Ammunition, which is effective October 1st, which is just a new distribution contract. So how that will affect their distribution costs, I think they renegotiated the contract to get those costs a little bit lower. So they're hoping that that'll help create either larger margins or lower pricing in their ammunition moving forward. So we'll see there. One other thing that they're talking about in terms of their R&D is not only, I should say, the biggest two areas that they are planning to put investments into the future is to increase in capacity and to increase in their e-commerce distribution channels. So I mentioned that before, moving into a very big e-commerce side of things. So as you guys purchase ammunition, a lot of you are probably going to start purchasing it directly from them as the manufacturers. We'll see how that plays out when everything turns back to normal. The other thing that they said they're going to do is increase their capacity. Something also that I talked about is when the election is over, if this is the new normal, we're going to see ammo, accessory, and gun manufacturers increasing their capacity, scaling up their equipment, material manufacturing, all that. Now, one thing I did have a lot of people asking about is their material supply, that's metals, primers, powders. They did not talk about any of that, about having any difficulties getting raw materials. I don't know if they would have to disclose that or not on their earnings release call. Of course, that might get investors a little bit worried if they're having trouble getting their raw material to make their product, but whether or not that's the case, I do not know. They did not talk about that, so I'm just giving you guys some references there. Now, as I talked about, my predictions for ammunition availability are going to be the same moving forward. I think, again, if we have Joe Biden win the election, guns and ammo are going to continue to stay pretty depressed until these manufacturers can get their capacity up and get stuff back out into the market. If President Trump is to win the election, moving forward, I think, again, within about 6 months, I think demand will come way back down. Supply will then meet the current demand trends, and then we'll go forward. Hopefully things are a little bit more normal, but it looks like the distribution side of things is going to be changing a little bit, at least with the Vista Outdoor brand ammunition, Federal, CCI, Speer, and all that. Anyway, guys, that's my quick update on the ammunition situation for you. I hope you found that insightful and interesting. If you did, please let me know by hitting that like button. Please also, if you do enjoy my videos, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. Like I mentioned in my last video, about 13% of my viewers are actually subscribing. So if you do come back, you like my channel, you like this type of content, please let me know just by hitting that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. Helps me in the analytics and all that. If you have any questions, please leave those down below. I do look at those and I'll try and answer them as I can. Anyway, guys, I will leave you there. I am Chris with Marksman Shooting Sports in Westfield, Indiana. You are watching Marksman TV, and we will see you next time.